We got Shinju Auclair back here on the program. He's going to be fighting once again for RIZIN on April 21st. Shinju, how are you?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. We just found out about this fight the other day. When did you find out? Because this card's coming up here in a few weeks.
I knew I was fighting about a month and a half ago, but I believe my original opponent had a felony or something.
Oh,
And had
really?
issues
Okay, that's
getting
a
her
first.
visa.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, we just found that out, and we had to get a new opponent. So that wasn't figured out until I think about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. And was this the right amount of time off between the last fight and this one?
I don't believe in a whole lot of time off,
Well, especially after last
whether
year. I
it's
mean,
a
last
full.
year was, I know with the injuries and everything, it was a long layoff. So I'm sure you're happy
Yeah,
to
I
get
got a
fights
lot
this
to
close
make
together.
up for.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Let's talk about that fight quickly at RIZIN 14. I know things, this is new for you and me. You're coming off a loss. What did you take away from that fight, a submission loss at RIZIN 14?
I need to do more film study on my opponent. I didn't go in much with a game plan. I always like to have as much fun as I possibly can. But in doing that, I got overly aggressive, and I didn't realize how much of a counter fighter she was and what her ground game was like. And I just kind of went in there, and I realized that, I'm at a point now where I can't go in and do whatever I want. And I have to kind of have, some sort of info going in. So I changed it up a little bit this time. I'm finally, doing some more film study, and yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Now, when it comes to film study, do you actually watch it yourself, or is that just something your coaches do?
I've never really been super into doing that. I also don't even like to know who my opponent is. So my team and my coaches do all the opponent selection, and then I don't even know who my opponent was really until they announced it on Instagram. Was the first time I got, the girl's name last fight. So this time I'm sitting down with them. They're making me do the film study with them, and we're getting everything together so I don't go in there with just this, have fun mindset.
Is that something have you always been that way, or is that something you just started doing like early in your career? Like why not watching film? Like, was there a particular reason?
I was in there to, implement my own game plan, and I see these fighters, they do all the film study, and they think about their opponent the entire, 8 weeks or however long the fight camp is, and so stuck on a game plan. And sometimes I see that they can't pull the trigger in the fight because they're so stuck on implementing this one game plan that they have set in mind. And I have noticed that, it almost serves as a block in a way. And I've gone in there, and I don't have a plan, and I go in there, I feel it out, I figure it out. So that being said, I did do the film study this time. I still don't really have a game plan. I'm just going in there with more information.
Last thing on RIZIN 14, that card was headlined by Floyd Mayweather. Did you get to meet him at all? Did you talk to him?
Yeah, I got to see him after the fight with my eyes swollen shut, and he told me to keep my head up and keep going. It was cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. At least you got to meet him. So let's talk about your opponent here. Now that you do, do tape study and stuff, and I know this is pretty fresh. Might butcher this. Saray Orozco, I believe that's how you say it. How do you feel like you match up against her here? She's got a couple fights, a little bit more fights than you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she has twice as much experience as I do, so it'll be good to test my hands against. She's a boxer, so it'll be fun to test my hands against a boxer. I think it'll be a fun fight. I think she's going to stand in front, and she doesn't mind being in the pocket. She likes to be the first to strike, and I like to be the first to strike, so I think there'll be a lot of cool exchanges in the fight. She's definitely not scared to, be right there in the action, and yeah, it'll be super fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say that seems like the type of fight that you would want because you guys can just test each other's stand up. You don't have to worry about the ground as much. Although obviously that's always there whenever you're in a fight, so that's good.
Of course, yeah.
How are things going? Are you training at El Nino Training Center? How's all that going for training camp right now?
It's awesome. That team is so cool. Everyone's got their back. It's not a super big team. We're not like a big super gym or whatever. We've got definitely like a smaller pro team. But I think that makes it just so tight knit, and we're so close, and especially the girls, there are, have my back like crazy.
Yeah. And one of those girls, I know you train with Carrie Melendez, obviously, and her husband Gilbert. What's the latest with Gilbert? Is he going to fight again? Maybe you have a little inside info here.
I can't tell you.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, TBA. Yeah, to be announced. Yeah, fair enough. Who else do you get to work with over there as far as some of the pros? Maybe some names we don't know, but names we could be seeing in the near future.
My core team has been like Carrie Melendez and then Leslie Smith, who they'll both be out cornering me this time. And then I have, there's a pretty solid Muay Thai team there as well. So I've been able to get in a lot of good striking work with some of the girls.
And how about the weight cut? How's that going ahead of this fight?
It's super good. Yeah, I've never really had too much of an issue with my weight. I don't walk around as heavy as some of the other flyweights do, so it's a pretty easy cut.
And how do you see this fight playing out? Are we going to see a finish, or is this going to be a war? How do you see it unfolding, especially now that you have an idea of who you're fighting?
Yeah, it has to be a finish. It's a decision. I feel like it doesn't feel as satisfying of a win. I want it to be there to be a very clear winner, and I think it's just going to be a battle of who's tougher between she and I, because I don't think either of us is going to, do a lot of running around the ring. I think I know that she likes to take a lot of center ring control, and she likes to, dictate the footwork. So, and I'll be right there in front of her and giving it right back. So it's going to be who's tougher.
Now, if we're noticing a theme from the last card to this card, you want to fight as soon as possible. I mean, if you come out of this unscathed, are you looking at, RIZIN 16 is potentially the next fight, or do you want sort of a break in between there?
I'll fight the next day. Even after the New Year's fight, I was completely messed up in my face, and I would have done it, all over again.
Right. And what's the status of your contract? How many more fights do you have left on there?
This is my last fight on this contract.
Okay, but every intention is to stay, because I know they really do a good job, I must say, of promoting you, because I know even on cards that you're not fighting on, they'll bring you out as like a guest fighter.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I have family out there, so.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. What do you think of sort of the shift we're seeing right now? Because, RIZIN's doing some great stuff. They made a lot of signings recently, like picking up a couple of UFC fighters, ex-UFC fighters, and now One Championship is doing the same thing. They just got Demetrius Johnson and Eddie Alvarez. What do you think about that? That, there's more of a focus, it seems, on the North American fighters.
Yeah, I think it's just showing that it started off as it was either the Japanese promotion or the Asian promotion. It's just showing that I think maybe it was looked down on a little bit, and because it was so concentrated in those regions. But I mean, we saw with, the Eddie Alvarez situation, we're able to bring in big talent from Northern America and do well against them. And so I think that's just showing how fast the promotions are growing.
Would the ideal plan be, and I'm not looking too far ahead here, but, with the second contract with RIZIN, because that is the top priority, is to re-sign with them, is the plan to, try and win the belt, if they have a belt, and then go and then eventually go to the UFC? Because I know that's something we've talked about, and I'm sure that is the long-term goal, is to go to the UFC and fight there.
You know what? I actually don't have a long-term goal. I don't particularly care about having a belt around my waist at any point. I don't really chase anything outside of myself other than to, continue having these opportunities to fight. So whatever promotion will sign me and allow me to be very active during the year, I'll do that. If I end up with the belt around my waist at some point, cool. If I don't, I just want to fight.
Okay, I like that honesty. And before I let you go here, I know as far as downtime, you like reading a lot. That's something we talked about last time. Any books you're checking out right now? Anything good that you're turning the page on right now?
Yeah, I've been reading The Performance Cortex. It's pretty cool. It's about the neuroscience behind sports. And Endure was a really good one that I just read as well, about endurance physiology.
Yeah, and now do you bring like extra books just in case for the flight? Because I know that's what you like doing, is reading.
Yeah. I have my little Kindle.
Yeah, which is handy. You don't have to bring all the books and stuff,
for sure.
because those carry-on, they're shrinking every day, it seems, with the airlines, right? So
yeah,
got to come prepared. Awesome. Well, Shinju, thanks as always for the time. We're going to be watching. It's RIZIN 15 coming up here April 21st. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, it's Shinju_Auclair on Instagram. And I just want to thank my team at El Nino, Perform for Life, and Escobar Boxing.